What were your thoughts, Biggs, with the game against Wales for Ireland or Ireland-Wales?
What were my thoughts? I actually thought the first half didn't actually feel like an international match in that sense. It felt very much just like Ireland were going through their motions. I actually thought Ireland were okay on the weekend. That's probably the least impressed I've been by them this tournament, and for the last 12 months, I thought they were okay. They did enough. Wales probably didn't help themselves with 9 penalties conceded, whether they were right or wrong. But what I am impressed with Ireland is that they are so well drilled, that every single person, every single person knows what shape they're running, what their role is, their timing. And again, they weren't perfect on the weekend, Ireland, but they're just so well drilled. They've got so much power in that front five, in particular, that they just get themselves over the gain line, and life is so much easier for the rest of the team if they can get themselves moving forward. And Wales rallied in that second half, and I actually thought Wales have shown some really really positive signs over the last few weeks, without probably really being really at the end of the score line sort of thing. I know obviously against Scotland they came back and England, but I thought there was a big difference between the two teams on Saturday. One team was at the very, very top of World Rugby, and probably Wales were in that transition period, and it showed on Saturday, I thought. But I thought Wales could be really proud of the effort they put in and stuck at it.
At half-time, Biggs, and I'm looking at it, and Ireland were in second or third gear, weren't they, in that first half?
Yeah.
Whilst looking really well organised in attack and all this stuff. Their attention to detail around clear-outs, we spoke about late the other week, the lines people run, just how ruthless they are at the breakdown, creates such fast ball, right? And I tweeted at half-time, this could be 50 for Wales, because Ireland were in second or third gear. Were you worried at half-time that it could be an absolute hockey-in, or did you know Gats has got some messages in him that spurred the boys on for that second half?
No, well, I actually think Ireland should have been maybe a little bit more ahead at halftime. They had so much dominance, and I don't think Wales could have complained if they were 20-25-0 down at halftime by any stretch. But I think the opening 10 minutes of that second half, I suppose stopped it being 40 or 50, Goodey, to be honest, because they came out with an attitude of taking the game to Ireland a little bit more. Again, a little bit like what they did in Cardiff against Scotland a few weeks ago, up the tempo a little bit and put a little bit of pressure on Ireland, because in the first half they put absolutely zero pressure on Ireland. So it was a walk in the park for Ireland in that first half. But they put a bit of pressure, got a penalty try, got a yellow card, had some moments in that 22. And I don't think even if they'd have scored from that period of pressure, they'd have gone on to win the game. But I think at least they were able to put, for a lot of people are saying, the best team in the world under pressure for 10, 15-minute spells. And ultimately, Ireland had, like you said, Goodey, Ireland had 2 or 3 more gears to go up to, even if the game got brought back to 17-10 or 17-13 or whatever it was. So I think there's, to be fair to I think Wales can be really proud, because they're not probably in the same breath as Ireland at the minute. The teams are very, very different. But I will say, I think Ireland deserve all the plaudits they're getting at the minute. They're an incredibly well coached team. Their attention to detail is second to none. Their physicality, their basics, they give you very, very little, which is demoralizing when you're playing them. I've played against Ireland so many times, and you feel like they just give you absolutely nothing, which means you've got to work for everything you get. So I think, look, they'll clearly be favourites going to Twickenham, and clearly favourites for completing a grand slam. But I was really encouraged by some of the Welsh lads. I thought Cam Wimett at full back was really, really good again. I think he's been a brilliant find in the Six Nations. I thought Aaron Wainwright again went really well. Rio Dyer on the wing went really well, and there's some real positive signs for Wales and some individual performances. And I think I agree with what Gat said a few weeks ago. This team's got the potential to be a really good team in probably a couple of seasons' time. They're not there just yet, but they've got the potential and the the attitude and the appetite to learn and the hunger to get better, to challenge teams in perhaps years to come. And actually, I think they'll fancy themselves against France in a couple of weeks' time in Cardiff with obviously how things went for France yesterday.
Yeah, you have to be careful laughing when you're living in France, at France, but they were bad. George North, quickly, how good was he? As a seasoned campaigner, over 100 caps.
Yeah, I'm shocked, Biggs. I was chatting about George North. You know, when he was going through his concussion stuff on the wing and he was really struggling to get back, and then they put him in at 13. You know, I played against George, for example. You played in 2013, the British and Irish Lions tour in Australia. Do you know what I mean? You talk about a player that's been there and done that, but it's more the way that he's played the game, like direct, loads of contacts, loads of collision, in traffic. You know, he is a bit of a phenomenon, really, isn't he? And to go from the wing, and then to go into 13, like I think that centre partnership looks great, albeit like the one thing coming from that game is around, and it's easier to talk about it than actually play against a team like Ireland, but is around line breaks. Like I think I saw something like Wales were 1 line break the whole match, compared to Ireland's 12. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think that lies necessarily just between like a 12 and a 13. But
that's how good Ireland's defence is as well, isn't it? Which doesn't get enough credit for. Everyone talks about Ireland's attack and how good their shapes are and how everyone, like Big said it then, around how everyone knows their role. And, you know, you've got 3 guys going to the line, you've got the ball out the back, you've got the next pod that are all running different angles. So you're getting one-on-one collisions, you know, whereas compared to England, you've got Gens trying to do it on his own because we don't know what we're doing and how we're supposed to attack. So you're getting 3 defenders smashing 1 player. Therefore, you don't get quick ball. Ireland are so good at that. But flip side of it, their defence as well. Yeah. Like one man competing at breakdowns and causing whatever number's on his back. Yeah,
it was whatever number. So whatever channel you're in. Like James Lowe, Matt Hansen when he's playing.
Bundy's been in there. Yeah, the back row is phenomenal over the ball. But then they're all on their feet. They're all organised, and it's so hard to break down. Well, that goes back to Biggs' point of they give you nothing.
Yeah, and just on that as well, it's like when Wales get the ball right, and the ball's 10 minutes more in play than it was for the Scotland-England game, right, which is a lot, right? So 10 minutes more. When you get the ball, you must be absolutely fucked because of what, you know, the amount of defence you've had to do. And when you look at it, it's almost like a computer game with Ireland. Do you know what I mean? The way that they're kind of in sync, that is tiring to play.
Yeah. Do you know what Ireland do really well as well, guys? They apply scoreboard pressure on you because all of a sudden the game's at 17-0 down. Now that alters how the opposition play. I said before the game, Wales have to keep in the game and have to keep it tight because if you allow this Ireland team to get ahead, they just dictate play and they force you to play in ways perhaps you don't want to play. You use a lot more energy up trying to move the ball because you're 17-0 down. Perhaps you don't go to your kicking game or the game that you've worked on all week and you feel like you have to force something and then all of a sudden a loose pass or overplaying a little bit brings their physical dominance into it, their brilliant defensive work into it. And all of a sudden, like you said, Jim, you're actually pedaling really hard not to go very far. And I think that's something that they're brilliant. That, you know, how many times do you see Ireland not kick 3 points in international rugby and back themselves by going to the corner and turning it into 5 or 7 points? And all of a sudden then the pressure on the scoreboard and the pressure of what that does to you as a 9 and 10 and force your decisions and force your hand is almost as impressive as anything they do technically. So I think that's something that they do absolutely brilliantly and just force your hand so often in a rugby match.
Silly good, eh?
Unreal.
How much you reckon they're going to put on England, Jim?
Ireland?
Yeah.
I don't think England are as bad as you're making
out.
out.
No, I'm not. No, I'm just. Well, that's why I'm asking you.
I think it'll be closer. I think
England are going to win. Go on, the boys.
I don't know if they'll win because this Ireland team look unbeatable, like in how they're playing, and there's still a few question marks over England. But I think England give them a proper game, whatever that means. You know, it's a throwaway comment.
Well, Scotland got 30 points, didn't they?
Yeah.
How many could Ireland get?
Wow.
They score a lot of points, don't they?
Yeah, but England do well against Ireland.
You say we did well. Last time we beat them was 2020.
That's just
pre-COVID, Jim.
Yeah, but you don't include COVID, so them 2 years of our lives have been wiped
deleted.
Off. They've been deleted, so a couple of years.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because, you know, from an England fan, you don't beat Ireland.
We just need to fuck up the
Grand
Slam.
France.
That's
you
what we
beat
need
France.
We need to ruin their Grand Slam.
How cool would that be? The Triple Crown. It's all on.
Pod.
Rugby pod.